Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to vent your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your Minifigure host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? Another lovely episode for your eardrums, for your ears, for that brain, that giant thing that you have inside of that skull. And today, finally, it's completed with some issues, but it is completed. And we're going to talk about the Chevy Camaro from 1969. We're doing it. We're going to talk about it and all its prettiness and amazingness and what it has to offer and what you may enjoy and what you may not enjoy, as I did not enjoy some of this, not so much because of the build. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into it. If you're curious to know what it is the Chevy Camaro Z28 1969. There's a podcast that I used to listen to that absolutely had a wife of the host that loved this car. But that's for another time and day. Maybe, if ever. So your set number for this set is 10304. It has 1,456 pieces and it retails for $170, 170 euro. Now, the set is very unique in the way that it is built. It is a beautiful car in its own right, and I think the Lego designers did a pretty darn good job of getting pretty close. Again, I am not a giant car guy. I can't break down things to, the specific inch and be like, well, actually, the wheelbase is completely off here. It doesn't quite fit. I have no idea. I've never seen one of these in the road. I almost said something dumb. Here's what I almost said that was dumb. I almost said, wait, wasn't this in that movie with Nicolas Cage where they were collecting all the cars? I can't remember the name of it. Wasn't that the car? Wasn't that going to be the car? No, that was a Mustang. That was a Shelby Mustang of 69. That's why I didn't say it. But now you know where my brain was. Anyway, let's talk about the vehicle. So first off, the great thing that Lego gives you the opportunity to have is two different vehicles. You can have the solid, built roof, or you can have the top down. You just let your hair blow in the wind. I have no hair, but you let your hair blow in the wind and you just enjoy it and have a lot of fun. You can do that. And it works. It absolutely works. They're both great models. They're perfect models, whether you want to have a hard top or no top at all. It's absolutely up to you. So let's talk about the vehicle as far as the build. The build was a lot of fun. If you saw my Instagram, I found the new piece. The new piece. It's not new just to this vehicle. It's been used in a few others. But it is rare coming across at this point where you have what is essentially a plate mixed with some slopes, which an upward slope and a downward slope. It's a really unique piece, and it's unique in its own right because at the end of it, there's a bar in between on the one side. And I never really stopped and looked at it. And I was like, well, what is this bar for? I never had that moment of like, let's see what this bar does. I'm not New Elementary. That's what those guys do. They look at things and they're like, what does this thing do? But I will tell you what. Going through the build process, I was like, oh my God, that's why it's there. So let's talk about the build piece. So the front of this vehicle, if you were to look at this front on, from the very, very front, you look at your headlights, you look at the grille. The grille is gorgeous. It is built in two different sections, and it comes to a nice little obtuse angle in the front. Look at that math. Look at the math vocabulary coming out here, children. And then you have some headlights that are on the sides. You do have a Z28 sticker that is here. By the way, these are stickers. It sucks. I know. You're like, oh, darn it. I was hoping. They're stickers because they're not going to be reused. Anyway, but it is really nicely done in the way that is. You have your assembly for just above. So, for instance, where a hood ornament might be, right? Because the hood does not start at the very front of the car. It starts just behind. I guess is most cars, that's kind of the way it is. I'm trying to think how mine is. Anyway, so you do have that. Your lights, your headlights can be switched out. If you don't want the headlights, you want to pretend that they are hidden, right? Because that is a feature. You take them off. It's super easy to take them off. And there is a tile, a 2x2 tile that as you place it, you realize, oh my God, it's seamless. It's so pretty. And it is printed. I'm like, okay, we get a printed tile for that because it's a generic tile of a grill, but we can't get, anyway, enough. You have your fog lights that are down below of that assembly as well. And then you have your scoop that is in the front, which is made of some Technic pieces that can be maneuvered, actually. It can be up and down. Obviously, it's supposed to be in one position, but it is not locked into place. So, you can play with it in your head or physically play with it if you so choose. Now, in the engine itself, here's the thing. The color scheme of this is all black and then dark bluish gray. You have 2 racing stripes that go down. If you so choose for the racing stripes to be different, you can do the dark red or you could do white. There are pieces for all 3. It is completely up to you. I just went with what the instructions did. And then, you can completely change it however you want. The instructions let you know, hey, if you're using this, use this. Anyway, also, we'll talk about the alternate build of the topless part as well. But under the hood actually opens up quite easily. You have to press on the back end of the hood towards where the windshield is. You have to press back there. It opens up, and then it gives you access to the engine. I don't know anything about engines. I know engines make things go. I know, this gasoline engine, petrol engine, it requires air. It requires, fuel, and it burns, it combusts, it does its thing. But the engine looks really nice. There is a chart. I think this is a turbo that's supposed to be here. There's what's supposed to be like an intake. There's a caution sticker here as well. There's a sticker for the 302 turbo fire engine, which that's supposed to be on top of the carburetor here. I do know that. So they have that. The engine is actually not that bad considering what the model is. And then you have kind of like the faux hood scoop that goes towards the driver, towards the windscreen. As you move back, you have your windshield that is canted to the rear. I do like the way that this is done. This is an early build early on into the main assembly of the car to be able to get that angle. Otherwise, it would be just straight up and down because it is a really kind of a bland windshield piece. It would just be a straight up and down, but they do such a good job at getting it at an angle. It works absolutely perfect, especially with the roof here. So the roof is super easy to take off if you want, just because of how it's connected. It's only connected by 8 studs, and it is connected by 2 that are clip attachable to the windshield. So take that off. Let's get a look on the inside here. So they use lollipops, that lollipop piece that they have used so many different times. Lollipop, probably frozen popsicle, whatever you want to call it. They use that here, frozen ice cream bar, for the windshields, the mirrors on the side. They use it for the mirrors. Down inside, you have a mix of black, dark bluish gray, and you have dark red and red for the coloring on the inside. Plus, there is light bluish gray as well for what is supposed to be the gear knob. So, actually, that popped off for me. My windshield popped off for me. You have a sticker for the steering column, or just under the steering column, with your 3 gauges. And then you have, your radio sticker that has 2 knobs. You have your gear shifter, which is in the light bluish gray here. You have a 5-piece, a number 5, so 5-cent type piece or 5 pence piece that is supposed to be here in your kind of semi-glove box that is going on here. This is old, so 1969 is a long time. 5 cents was worth much more than it is right now. You have your steering wheel that does accentuate and move the wheels in the front. It actually does move them quite severely. It's not a slow movement. It is actually an abrupt movement. So your wheels turn almost immediately when you put any kind of force into it. Your chairs for your captain's chairs, your passenger, and your driver are actually a really nice build. I really like the build of this because you start building on the sides, and then before you know it, you stick a bar on it, you clip it in, and you have your chair that is sitting upright. I really like the way that is done. They are identical builds. Really just nice builds, honestly. I didn't hate anything about those. The doors do open. They are clipped into place with some unique pieces. I'm going to let that up to you guys, but they do use that 1x5 piece, modified piece that has 2 bars on the ends to be able to attach. Attaches to a clip on one side and then it attaches to the door clip in its own piece. I like the way that is done. It opens and closes very smoothly. I will say, though, before I had the second door on, the passenger side door, the driver door did not close super duper well. Just didn't want to close as well as it should have. In the rear seat, if you want to get back to that, what you have back here is a nice little bucket seat that you got going on for 2 people. It's a tiny seat. You're going to have to like squeeze in. If you're of larger body, it's going to be a rough ride. Back there, but there is a tile, a 2x3 tile that is back here that has Model Team Magazine Hot Z Rod, not just Hot Rod, Hot Z Rod that you have back here of a model, and it's not anything amazing, but it is nice to have. You have the rear windshield here that does have some movement to it. It is not completely locked into place. It does become semi-locked into place when you do put the top on. So let's move to the very rear here. And what you have in the rear is you have your compartment for what? What do you want to put in there? Tire, spare tire? You want to put in your luggage? Do you want to put in your Christmas gifts if you're shopping for Christmas gifts? What do you want to put in here? Hopefully not a body. No bodies. Nobody's allowed in this model, okay? It does house multiple minifigs if you so choose. I checked. I had to check. I was like, how many minifigs can I fit in here? You can fit a number of them. Whole minifigs, okay? Let's stay away from the Dateline podcast, okay? We don't want to do that. But then you move to the rear, and what you have is you have your rear taillights. You have another Z28 sticker. You have your 1970 Michigan plate with the CHVY69 as your vanity plate that is going on here. They use fire axes for the tailpipes. I like the way that is done. It's something unique. You have your reverse lights that are pretty awesome. Your tail lights are on 1x4 tiles that have gray lines, silver lines across them. Those are printed as well. Not amazing prints, but they are printed. So you do have that. So that is nice. So let's talk about the sides of the car, what it has to offer. The wheels are absolutely gorgeous in the way that they are done. They are dumb. They are dumb. No, they are done in that drum lacquered silver color here. I do like the way that is done. The front wheels just spin too much for me in the front. I'm not a big fan of that. But up in the front, what you have is a Z28 sticker yet again on both sides of the vehicle. It's nice. It's absolutely nice. I like the way it's done. I just realized I had one of my tiles because it's on a 2x3 tile. I have it upside down and it says 82/Z. It doesn't quite work the same. You do have another print here, not a print, a sticker on a 2x2 tile that says Camaro just behind the front wheels and just in front of the door hinge for each side. And then you have your light bluish gray handle that is used and is incorporated into the door frame. I like the way the door assembly is done. Some slope tiles, some slopes as well. And then you do have some plate building in the center, but it is really nicely done. The wheel wells, they have giant wheel well pieces that they use here. There are 4 of them, 1 for each tire. And those are simply just to be able to get that shape absolutely perfect because that's what you want. You don't want something that's half-assed. You want something that's beautiful and perfect and amazing and awesome. So they have that. You do have your slope assembly here for your top, the piece that you are using for your roof. And anyway, so moving forward, or I'm sorry, more backward. What I meant forward is continuing on here to the rear quarter panels and stuff. Nice, smooth sloping throughout the car. It's really nicely done. One of my favorite things is the way that the rear bumper is done. It's just a bunch of the 1x2 slopes that is done back here. I really like the way these are done. I really like the way that looks. There's just something about it that just looks, I don't think sexy is the right word. It just looks really good. It just fits. It works well. It finds a spot and it just works really, really well. So if you are somebody, for instance, that is looking to do the conversion and you want to have no roof on top, absolutely no roof, you're basically taking the dark red pieces and you are just building out the rear. You're building out kind of like the bucket seat assembly in the rear. And it looks really, really nice. It looks really, really, really sharp in the way that is done. But for me, I'm like, I want the whole deal. I want the roof on. I want everything. So let's talk about the roof before we get out of here. The roof assembly is pretty simple. It's tiles, it's slopes, it's not much of anything, and some other plates. Now, it does have a 2-stud connection to the front windshield, and then it does have the 4 on each side to the rear. 4 studs, by the way. And then you also have your fuzzy dice that are hanging in the windshield that they use here. They use that new brick. It's not as tall as a regular brick. It's 2/3 of a brick tall. It's a 1x1 by 2/3. And then you also have a tile that is used here, a 1x2 tile that has a silvery tint to it that is supposed to be the rear windshield. You do get another one in case you want to do a seamless no top on top. They actually give you another one so that you can do the alternate build so that you have it, which is really, really nice. So it's just sitting on my sticker sheet at the moment. But yeah, I really like the way this is done. So when you put this on, you already have your rear view mirror and you have your fuzzy dice there, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous addition. So one of the things that I really, really, really enjoyed about this model is just the way it looks at the end. It looks like an old style car. When I say old style, I don't mean like something in 1942. It looks like a retro car. It's a nice car. It's a fun build. Build techniques in this, you have some studs not on top. You have studs on the side. You've got things that clip into place and you're just kind of like, where is this going? What is this supposed to do? It's like the 2 bucket seats, like I said, they clip in with just a bar, but it's nice because it's a whole assembly and it's easily removable. Let's say you want to do something. You're like, you know what? I want to completely rebuild the interior of this vehicle. You can do it. Lego has allowed you the ability to be able to do that with not removing a bunch of stuff. You absolutely can do that. If you want to choose a different paint scheme, you can do that. What colors do you want? Do you want dark red? Do you want white? Do you want dark bluish gray? It is up to you. But I like the way that is done. The decision-making possibility is there for anybody that might be interested whatsoever. And there's plenty of you out there that, you know what? I want to be different. I don't want to be the model. I want to be something else. Part of me, I was like, you know what? Let's switch out and do the white. I love the white. So you do have a plethora of pieces that are left when you're finished. Don't be alarmed. Don't be like, oh my God, what just happened? That's normal. It's supposed to be that way. You're not supposed to have all the pieces in the places. You're going to have extra pieces. Now, one of the issues that I came across, and I'm not knocking Lego as a whole entity. I'm not knocking them saying, Lego is bad. No. What I got when I opened the last few bags, when you start building more of the exterior, I had some pieces that had scuffs on it. And I thought, oh, is this printed? Is this supposed to be like this car, was rough housed or whatever, had some, the one piece I literally thought was, oh, this is going to go on the side. And they were racing and they bumped tires. Think of, some of you may not understand what I'm talking about. But in close proximity racing, stock car racing specifically. When a vehicle gets too close, it leaves a donut. It leaves a wheel mark on the vehicle that it touches. And that's what it looked like. I was like, oh, is that what this is? And then as I got further into build, I'm like, it doesn't go there. What's going on? I had no less than 8 pieces. It's somewhere between 8 and 12. I have not completely looked specifically. It's somewhere between 8 and 12. The roof of my vehicle does not look very good. It is very, very scuffed. And not just like, oh, hey, the black has a nick in it. No, it looks like it's silver. It literally looks like I have silver on top of black. I don't know how this happened. I don't know why it happened, but I'm very curious to know. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I did contact customer service, and they are sending me new pieces. And the only thing that I can think of is there were white pieces, perhaps in the bag, that, I don't know, and it's in its shipment across the ocean, it just got jacked up. That is all I can literally determine. Come to a conclusion and say, okay, it is this. I want to put a camera in a Lego box, and I just want to see its journey. Because, hey, the boat may be gentle. The airplane may be semi-gentle. After it gets off, I don't know what's going on. I'm not knocking delivery drivers at all. I have no idea what happens when it gets to a delivery facility. Does it get turned upside down, backwards? I mean, I've talked to other Lego people, builders, fan media such as myself, that have gotten boxes that were waterlogged, and Lego has graciously sent a replacement. Or it's been ripped open on the side and it's missing its guts or some of its guts. It's happened to me. Not on a review, but just on something that I've bought, just something small. And it's like, how did this happen? Who ran into this with a forklift? So, as they say, your mileage may vary. You may not have had or have any issues with your model. I do, but it's being rectified, and I appreciate Lego for doing so. So let's talk about price to build. Is this worth $170? It's 1,500 pieces. I don't know. I say I don't know because honestly, what my opinion, what your opinion, what the thousands of other people's, tens of thousands other, millions of others, their opinions are going to be different. Some may say, you know what, I'd pay $200,000 for this. What is the nostalgia to you? What is the meaning to you of this set? I've talked about it many times. Seinfeld, huge fan of Seinfeld. That set to me, I would pay way more than what they were asking. Would I pay more than what this set is being sold for? Absolutely not. But I don't have any nostalgia. I'm not a car guy. I like cars. I like racing. But I don't have an intimate knowledge of certain vehicles. This one specifically, which seems to captivate so many people. I'd be okay if this were in a Speed Champions model. I'd love the bejesus out of this thing. Absolutely I would. But is it worth it? I can't tell you that. You have to come to your own brain. You have to stand at the altar in your brain and say, brain, is this worth this much money? And your wallet is screaming, no! Your heart is screaming, yes! And your brain is screaming, I don't know! As you stand at the Lego counter in the Lego store or in the checkout online. And you go back and forth. You're like, delete from cart, add to cart, delete to cart. Or delete from cart, add to cart, delete. Back and forth, back and forth. It's really up to you. It really is. But I do like the way this is done. It's a cool set. My favorite part of this is the color palette, the changeability, and I just love the wheels on this thing. It just looks great. It just complements the rest of the car, and I like it for that reason. So for me, would I pay if I were a car person, if I had an intimate attachment to this vehicle, a Chevrolet or something like that, would I pay for it? Absolutely. I will be curious to see in the long-term run how this car goes. I honestly don't know, but I'm sure it'll do pretty well. So that's going to wrap up today's episode. Until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.